Greetings, Pinatians, and welcome to the second episode of my Logic of series, and in this video we'll be covering a topic that I've been gathering data from levels 289 up to level 290. Nearly 2 months of data finally being compiled, and the result to answer this next following question. Are bounty portals worth using while you farm, and exactly how good or bad are they? And as usual, we'll go over what these are before getting into it, and if you only want to get to the logic part and or the math, because this one has a lot of math, feel free to skip to the timestamp or the time marked on the screen now. During training, there will be a total of 3 different portals that will spawn when you're killing mobs. The yellow portals are the bounty portals, the red ones are the infernal wolf portals, and the purple one is the Especia bounty portal. But for the life of me, for the rest of this video, I'll be calling them the purple portals because screw its actual name, I'm not saying that over and over again. And with the bounty portals, there are 6 total different rooms that you can get. Those 6 being divided into 2 different categories that I'll be labeling as kill portals and minigame portals. The kill portals are identifiable by the NPC you get when you attempt to enter the yellow portals, and that NPC is called Polo, and the tall skinny NPC. And the minigame portal NPC is Frito, the short round fella. And once again, the math on these will be explained later. And a bit of trivia I'd like to highlight is the fact that Frito and Polo portals are strictly RNG. You have a 3 in 6 chance to roll either side. There is no way to choose which room you end up in. The kill portals, or Polo portals, are 3 different rooms, those being Protect Polo, where you'll have to face 5 different waves of mobs while it's asking to kill them before they can kill Polo in the map. The next one is called Castle Defense. This one has 2 platforms where the mobs come from either direction. You'll be required to kill all of them before they remove all of your lives in this map. You lose lives when a mob actually enters the portal on the opposite side on their platform. The mini-bosses will take out more lives than the mobs themselves. And the last of the kill portals is the Stormwing Hunt. This last one is the best as it yields the most EXP for the least amount of time spent in the actual portals. The minigame portals, or Frito portals, also has 3 different rooms, those being Dragon Egg Steel, that involves a 50-50 split chance of going up via one of the 2 platforms on each level. The higher you get, the more the EXP reward. The second minigame portal is Bird Hunting. It's a minigame that requires you to shoot all the birds except for the vultures. A perfect 1000 point score will give you the max EXP, and any vulture you kill will remove points, which will result in less EXP. And the last of the minigame portals is called Courtship Dance. This one is a DDR style minigame where you'll be required to complete each wave of commands within a set duration. The longer it takes you to get through all 10 waves, the lower the EXP reward. The red portals, or Infernal Wolf portals, is a mini-boss style portal that gives you 20 seconds to deal as much damage or kill the Infernal Wolf in order to get EXP rewards. And there are a total of 3 different wolves that you can spawn, each of which are determined by the level of the mob that you killed to spawn the portal. The normal wolf is for levels 1 to 199, the chaos wolf is for levels 200 to 295, and the extreme wolf is for levels 260 and above. And the last portal to cover is the purple portal. This portal is a quick time event where you'll be required to land a moving cursor in the highlighted spots on the bar on the screen. There isn't any notable bonuses for hitting the yellow or red regions, as those only kill more blocks on the totem. They don't reward more EXP. The only true benefits of actually landing in those highlighted areas is so you can complete the portal and get out faster to resume training. That, or if you're using the Rune EXP 1 special node and you are attempting to time it correctly to get a larger bonus amount of EXP for that time duration. And some of you may have noticed that I've neglected to mention the pouches that you also get. Those aren't important to this, as their rewards are marginal and unimportant to the EXP. The only reward I'll mention are the medals that you can potentially get, as those medals are actually not too bad to have on mule characters, but other than that, we can ignore them for the sake of the video and focus solely on the EXP. The portals themselves have total entry limits per day for each of them. The Infernal Wolf portal can only be entered a total of 5 times per in-game reset cycle, while the yellow and purple portals both have instance and shared entry limits. The yellow portals can only be entered a total of 15 times per day, while the purple one can only be entered a total of 5 times per day, but if you reach the daily limit for either of the yellow or purple portal, the other portal will be locked out for that day as well. So, for example, if you only entered the gold portal 10 times, but you entered the purple portal 5 times, you will also not be allowed to complete the remaining 5 portals for the bounty portal. The Infernal Wolf portal is the only one with its own isolated instance of entry limits. I'll be explaining the game plan for these portals later. And the next part of this video will go over how much EXP each portal gives. We'll be covering the Infernal Wolf portals first. For the Infernal Wolf portals, for each of the 3 different wolves that you can get, they are based off of the level of the mob that spawns them in the map. So all of those base EXP for each of the wolves, depending on the map, will be different. The wolves and their EXP amounts are on screen now, and while I have them on screen, I'll briefly explain what the X amount times EXP means. This merely means it gives you that much EXP of that one mob's worth of EXP from that portal that was spawned in. And this goes for all of the portals. They are not based off your character level, but the mob themselves, specifically the one that you kill that triggers the portal summon. which actually means that you're going to be able to use resources like maplemaps.net to calculate base EXP and total EXP if you ever choose to do so for the maps that you use. The EXP from Infernal portals is not affected by EXP multipliers. And for the yellow bounty portals, for all of the 6, I'll be merely showing their numbers on screen with a brief note and separate them into their kill or minigame categories. And just to briefly give an explanation for the kill portals, the total portal multipliers that you can see on screen right now, those are for the total multipliers for all the mobs that you will kill in each portal. As for those who actually pay attention to some very minute details like which mobs get more EXP, you'll notice that the mobs at the start of the portal don't get as much as the ones in the back. The Wikipedia doesn't cover exactly which mobs give exactly how much, it just gives me the total. So some of the numbers are going to be really weird to calculate. So for most of the portals, when we get to the math, they'll just be a generalized time frame versus how much they give. And for the last portal, the purple one, there's a chance for gold totem blocks to spawn, and if they do, there will always be a total of 6 in a stack of 30. So those numbers will be the following. For this first logic of portion of the video, this will be the no math explanation. I'll be putting the no math explanation first for those who only care about for a direct answer. If you want to skip to the math, stick around or click on the timestamp below. Bounty portals, purple portals, and even infernal portals are good EXP. They're even better than standard training when compared 1 for 1 with the time spent inside the portals and the EXP gained. Assuming we're talking about with the general EXP buffs and setups, which means not counting oddities like 3x EXP, Rune EXP, or VIP boosters. The short and sweet explanation is the following for each portal. The kill bounty portals are always good, especially when you have Rune and 3x EXP coupons. It's even more so when you have the Sunny Sundays or event skills that boost the bounty portals. The minigame portals are only good if you're doing dailies, as you're more than likely not going to have any EXP multipliers on, so that actually is not going to be benefited or wasted on those. Because of that, never go into these if you're training. The purple portals are always worth taking, and like with the kill bounty portals, are affected by multipliers like Rune EXP and 3x EXP coupons. The Infernal portals are a bit better EXP, loosely speaking that is, and that's assuming you're not on Rune EXP, 3x coupons, or in a busy map with a high risk of losing your map. Which brings me to my next point. Portals are better EXP, time-wise, when compared to the time spent training versus the time spent in the portals themselves. But, if we're taking into consideration what the map you're in, you're better off ignoring portals for less EXP, as losing your map and having to waste time and buff durations in order to find a new one, if you can at all, is an enormous loss to your EXP and rates. But if you're in a map with a super low rate of traffic like K4 and Carcion, or any decently large selection of maps in Talahart, I would recommend that you take advantage of these portals for their EXP anytime you're able to. And for the next portion of the video, it'll be the math explanation, and just a little bit of a disclaimer / warning. There's going to be a lot of math, a lot of rambling, so you're going to hear a lot of repeats, and I do apologize, there's going to be a lot of still portions of the video, but it's going to be a lot of math, and that's just going to be the nature of these type of portions of these videos. So with that being said, for this portion of the video, we'll be using the map and the mobs that I was training in for the sake of the flat static set of data points. That map is being K4 in Carcion from levels 289 to 290. And during my entire time at level 289, I made a tracker to manually input data such as which portals I got, how many, if I had a rune or no rune, and just some other general metrics as well. And I also loosely noted down how long portals took me to complete in order to gain a comparable point of measure. Do take note that this is all a single person's input and field data of sorts, so there's going to be varying degrees of margin to the data. So some discrepancies will be expected, but generally still reliable as a big picture point that I'm going to be trying to make here. And just as another additional note and disclaimer, the event might be slight EXP from portals received due to the fact that I was upgrading the portal EXP skill from the event during the recording of this data. But, as I'll be using base numbers for the portals, there shouldn't be any too big a problem except for when we get to the parts of the map where we compare the portal versus overall WAP EXP percentages. And that just loosely means if anyone's actually following along with my math attempting to check if I'm doing anything wrong, which I do appreciate people do, that just means you'll probably see a static increase of maybe 1.2, 1.4, or 1.6 versus the general EXP or the portals. But roughly speaking, since I'll be using single WAP instances against itself and the control group, it shouldn't cause any issues overall. The first portal we'll be covering is the Infernal portal. As you can see on the screen now, the one that I'm going to be showcasing is the yellow highlighted line. The yellow is the control group, and since it only has an Infernal portal, we can do some math to get the flat WAP rate for my in-the-field recording of the EXP, and we can also start off with some of the math on the Infernal portal itself. As we can see, the control group EXP is 1.011 trill EXP. And from the control group, we will minus the Infernal portal EXP, which I would be showing the math on screen right now. And once we subtract it from the actual control group, the total control group EXP will therefore be 1.004 trill EXP for that entire session. And once again, to those who are actively following the math and are checking my numbers, you'll probably notice that my numbers do not match with what is reflecting on Maple maps. And that is due to the EXP special node, and I have no idea how to properly factor that in as it only activates after each rune. So because of that, we'll just be using 1.004 trill as a general base number for our examples. So back to the matter of the Infernal Wolf portal itself. Assuming you spent a total of 30 seconds flat for the entirety of the Infernal Wolf portal, which consists of the entry, 20 seconds for the fight, and lag on exit and exiting of the exit room, we can therefore do 30 seconds divided by 7.4 seconds, which is 1 spawn wave, which would therefore equals 4.05 spawn waves. We'll round that down to a flat 4 due to the nature of spawn waves only being spawned in whole waves and you killing them before they actually are completed, which will give us 4 waves multiplied by 39 mobs per spawn wave will be 156 spawn waves for the duration of how long that Infernal Wolf portal took. So, factoring in for the EXP multipliers I had during the training and the recording of these numbers, and assuming it's not during a rune, we therefore do 3.785 for the EXP multiplier multiplied by 4.27 mil for the base EXP, which gives us 16.16 mil EXP multiplied 1.2 for the level advantage equals 19.394 mil EXP. And with that, we then do 19.394 million EXP multiplied by 156 mobs equals 3.025 bill EXP. And with the Infernal Wolf portal that I can do, I got 6.832 bill versus the 3.02 bill I would have gotten in that same time. To do a one-for-one example for the EXP versus time, if we scale the training EXP time to give us the actual same EXP as the portal, would then have the following math. 6.832 divided by 3.025 will give us 2.25 as a rate. Multiply 30 seconds equals 67.5 seconds. So for the Infernal Wolf portal, without comparing training EXP while on a rune, and the portal without any event boost to that either, it would take you 67.5 seconds worth of killing mobs to get the same EXP you would have gotten from the Infernal Wolf, assuming you're in the same map and doing the same bare minimum damage required for the 1600 EXP multiplier reward. And with the math done for that portal, we can get to the logic portion. And so you're probably going to be asking yourself now, Peanut, how is this really worth it? You barely get 37.5 seconds worth of EXP versus how much you're going to be training. That's not even a full 1% extra EXP for that entire WAP. That is very true. It's practically barely any worth. Infernal Wolf portals are better, the map shows it, but it's barely worth it for the single portal use out of the 5. To paint a better picture, 5 total portals per day, which is possible to do within a single WAP, pretty much 1 hour and some change is more than enough to get 5 done, and assuming you're not on 3x and not doing something like portals during a rune, we have 5 portals multiplied by 6.832 bill will give us 34.168 bill EXP. And then taking the control group, which is 1.004 trill plus 34.16 bill, or if we converted the trill for easier math, 0.03416 trill equals 1.03816 trill EXP. We then do 1.04 trill divided by 1.03816 trill, then to multiply 100, we'll have 96.709%, which then tells us the following. Doing all 5 Infernal Wolf portals in a single WAP will be worth approximately 3.29% more EXP overall for that WAP, allowing for some variance and some margins of error. To most, this is chump change, barely worth mentioning still. But for those who were able to train in a non-high traffic map, such as K4, Talahard for the most part, and some other less used maps that I personally don't know of, this is merely a nice way to squeeze more EXP out. That, and actually keeps me awake during training for a bit. This is just a nice way to squeeze more EXP out for your training sessions. That, and it actually helps keep me awake when I train. And just to paint an even broader picture, this is 3.2% more EXP overall per WAP. Per WAP. Which means, the more WAPs you do, the more this adds up. More is more. But in the end, that's the logic part of the Infernal Wolf portals. It's more EXP and less time, barely, for your training sessions, and that's not even factoring in the other portals that you'll be doing in a single WAP. This all adds up, which then leads us to the yellow bounty portals. Okay, going back to the control group data of 1.004 trill for one WAP of no bounty portals, compared to another WAP session I did, and that had a total of 4 kill bounty portals, 1 with rune, 3 without runes, it was a total of 1.19 trill. Though do take note that it also had 2 elite bosses and 1 purple portal while on rune in that session. And just to cover it loosely, an elite boss in Grandis spawns a total of 9 EXP orbs that are worth 111 of the base EXP of the mob of that map that spawned it. And since we're using K4 as an example from Carcion, this gives a total of 4.26 bill EXP per kill. And the purple portal in this WAP session that had a rune will be the following. 4.27 mil EXP for the base EXP of the mob, multiplied by 4.785 for the EXP multiplier total, equals 20.43195 mil EXP, and then multiplied by 1.2 for the actual level advantage, will therefore give us 24.51834 million EXP, multiplied by 1184.1 for the portal multiplier, equals 29.032 bill. So from there, that will therefore be 1.19 trill minus 4.26 multiplied by 2 minus 29.032 bill, will therefore give us 1.152 trill EXP. And with that, we now only have the WAP's EXP total EXP plus the bounty portals. Comparing to the control group data again, we have 1.004 trill divided by 1.152 trill multiplied by 100 is 87.15%. Which gives us our final difference of 12.85% of an EXP difference between both the control WAP and the WAP of the 4 bounty portals. This alone shows how much of a difference, though. Take note that there's going to be some margin of error due to the nature of how farming is, due to things like lag, rotation placement, overlap of spawns if you miss a few, so there are going to be some varied degrees of margin. And to give you a time comparison like I did with the Inferno portal, we have the following for the 3 killable portals. And a little bit of a side note for these, the times I give are how long it takes me to get into the map, complete the killings, and leave, and re-enter my training map. And this also includes the time it takes for me to get the EXP from the portal versus the training with me having the BA open. I don't have the recordings of these nor screenshots, so you just have to take my word on these. For Protect Polo, it takes me 40 seconds on average to complete the map, and the EXP from that portal took me 2 minutes on average to get the same amount while training. For Castle Defense, it takes me about 45 seconds, a little bit higher sometimes on average, and took me approximately 2 minutes and 5 seconds to 2 minutes and 10 seconds on average to get the total amount from training. And for the last portal, which is Stormwing, this takes me approximately 23 seconds or even 20 seconds on average to complete, and this involves me full nuking and covering the map. Dusk Janus helps greatly with this, I highly recommend people use it. And that it took me about 3.75 to 4 whole minutes to get the same EXP. Though, take note that Stormwing has varying degrees of margin, as the Storm Wings in the map are worth way more EXP to a greater multiplier, and for each of the one that extends the time, they can spawn some lesser versions of themselves that are still worth the same amount of EXP, so depending how fast you kill, which ones you do kill, it varies greatly. And due to the complexity of these portals, due to Rune and no Rune, as well as the fact that the portals are random in which one you get, and situationally spawning with or without proximity to runes, it becomes a way more of a complex to give exact numbers, but at the least the overall EXP and of each WAP displayed. I will have some examples on screen now, all of which I showed that compared to the control group in yellow, greatly shows that the portals from the kill bounty portals to make a decent difference overall across the board. And with the math finally done, we have the logic. The logic for the kill bounty portals are pretty straightforward. They are 100% worth it, but as you can probably note, 2 of the 3 portals take a decently long time to get through, nearly a whole minute. That greatly puts your spot in the map at risk. So this falls underneath the same general rule of the principle for all the portals, and that rule is the following. Take the portals if it's a low risk of you losing the map, because the EXP is really worth it. And this is exactly why I bothered even going from levels 10 to level 20 for my Dawn Soul Janus, to be able to both lazily farm in K4 and Carcion, but to also never lose my map whenever I did portals, which I literally never did from 0% up to 100% at 289 to 290. And for our last portal, the purple portals, the purple portals math, there are 2 different scenarios I like to go at for the least mention, those being gold totems and the one with no golden totems instance. Simply put, the gold totems can be spawned a total of 6 out of the 30 totem blocks, but you rarely ever get to see an actual gold totem, because that was quite literally, I didn't get a single instance of a purple portal with a damn gold totem. So that actually makes the map easy, so I don't have to actually calculate that one. And so because of that, I'll only be doing a no gold totem scenario as a base metric, and if you get one yourself and you'd like to figure out the math, please refer back to the purple portals portion of the video for those numbers, or look at the wiki links that I have linked down in the description. So back to the math, and assuming we're doing a purple portal without Rune EXP, we have the following numbers. 4.27 mil for the base EXP multiplied by 3.785 for the EXP multiplier gives us 16.161 million EXP, which we will therefore multiply by 1.2 for the level advantage, giving us 19.394 mil, multiplied by 1184.1 for the portal multiplier, which gives us 22.964 bill EXP. And to also compare it against a no rune training expression, we do 4.27 mil for the base EXP, multiplied by 3.785 for the EXP multiplier, equals 16.161 mil, multiplied by 1.2 for the level advantage, equals 19.394 mil, multiplied by 39 mobs per spawn wave, gives us 756.375 mil EXP per spawn wave. And from there, we therefore do 22.964 bil divided by 756.379 mil equals 30.36 multiplied 7.4 seconds for each spawn wave equals 224.664 divided by 60 seconds equals 3.744 minutes. And this means for each of the purple portals, which is roughly 30 seconds if you do not land outside of any of the bonus spots, you will need to farm 3.744 minutes on average to earn the same amount of EXP. But just to add a little bit of disclaimer, this will have me missing a few bonus hits on average, so if you land more, if not only bonus hits, you will be able to increase the EXP performance rate, which allows you to return back to killing regular mobs, which therefore is more EXP overall. And finally, with the math done, we have the logic. Like with the yellow kill portals, this is the same general idea or logic. Only take these portals in a low risk, low traffic map, because these portals yield way more XP than the other portals, but not at the risk of losing your training map. Other than that, the purple portal has nothing more beyond what I've already covered with the other portals. And as for some portal strats, tips, and tricks that I picked up and developed over the 2 months of me recording all this information, they are the following. The first trick is the no Infernal Wolf portals. To those who saw my math on the Infernal Wolf portals and don't deem this one as worthy enough to spend time doing it, you can simply disable the portals. You're not really disabling like you would with a computer setting or anything, but more so preventing the game from ever actually being able to give you one. To do so, all you have to do is actually go into an Infernal Wolf portal and do not kill the wolf. If you or someone else kills the wolf, you'll have to restart. And assuming you or someone else did not kill the wolf, simply exit the map, go back to training, and when you see that little light bulb above your head pop up to claim the rewards, do not actually claim it. The game will actually check for certain criteria before attempting to spawn a portal for you. There are several, but the bottom line criteria is simply, if you have the previous reward unclaimed, it will not spawn another. And because of this, if you have the infernal portals effectively disabled like this, you will only get purple and yellow portals. This indirectly speeds up your portals for those two, as portals can only spawn if another portal is not actively on the map. So therefore, if there are no Infernal Wolf portals ever, that means the yellow and purple portals will never have an obstruction to prevent them from spawning, which also indirectly allows for more portals to spawn. And for the next thing that I'm going to be noting, I'm going to be loosely calling it Rune and no Rune portals. Since kill portals and purple portals are both affected by Rune XP multipliers, you will want to actually have these portals with runes as much as possible. If you ever get either portals to spawn and you notice your rune cooldown is close to, or just under a minute, open your BA and start it. Every portal on the map stays for 90 seconds from when it spawns, so that way you can try and time it to get a rune to spawn in order to maximize your EXP from the portals. Though do take note that this is sort of risky, as runes don't always tend to respawn right away when the cooldown is up. So I would highly recommend that you take the portal when your BA shows that it's close to 70 seconds or 75, just to not lose that portal. Because think of it this way, a portal with no rune is still better than no portal at all. And to those who want the Infernal portals, the strategy is kill the wolf, which will actually allow you to leave the room early. And to those who have actually been in Infernal portals, you would know that that thing is tanky as heck. And because of that reason, it is only doable if you're either 1, strong, or 2, lucky to spawn in one that's like very low on health. But to those who are a little bit sweaty, you can do what I do. I have 2 presets for this. One is for training, the other puts back on my bossing legion, bossing hyperstat, and bossing inner building, and bossing gear. So it pretty much only leaves me with damage links off and no Ozring. And to try and do as much damage as I can, I also use green and red monster park potions, the wild hunter potion, guild buff, guild skills, all to try and kill it as much as I can. Before entering the Infernal Wolf portal, I have all these turned on, go in, and nuke the wolf with my origin and burst. Done correctly, I'm able to do approximately 60 to 65% of the Infernal Wolf portal's HP. This usually saves me about 5 to 10 seconds depending on what the HP of the wolf is already at. And remember, this tip is only for those who want to sweat a little to try to get more EXP performance by getting out of the portal faster. Also, as an important note, once you're done with the Infernal Wolf portal, be it the kill and the exit room, be sure to turn on your training presets once you're back in the training map, as if you do it inside the Infernal Wolf portal and its exit room, it doesn't actually allow everything to switch over for some reason. The reason I mention this is because over the course of 2 months, I've noticed that I've accidentally not turned my training stuff back on after the Infernal Wolf portal, so I was training without EXP sometimes. And the next one is for the kill portals. To minimize excessive time spent in the bounty portal, I would highly recommend quickly swapping your Janus to Dusk mode to help you clear maps faster. This is especially if you're playing a class that doesn't have a decently fast attacking summon. And other than that, I have no other tricks or portals, but if you have some that you know of or use, please consider sharing them with us in the comments. And just to share some variables that I discovered while actually researching for this video, recording the data for 2 months, in case anyone else wants to record their data and do the math, here are some things that you may want to know. The first thing I'd like to mention is for the Inferno portals, as they do not have the 1.2x EXP multiplier for level advantage that mobs regularly do, as this is technically considered a quest EXP reward. The second thing I'd like to mention is the fact that the kill portals and the purple portals do have the 1.2x level advantage multiplier for their EXP. The third one is the fact that bounty portal cooldown timers actually can start at 2 starting points. The first portal reset is when the portal ends, that is assuming you did not interact with it at all. The second reset point is actually when the moment you actually interact with the portal, because for some reason, the game registers as your attempt to go into the portal and you closing it as still has the fact that you've entered the portal. From there, it will trigger the 10-minute timer cooldown immediately from there. And the last variable I like to highlight is the fact that when the Inferno portals are disabled, yellow and purple portals become predictable. The purple portal will spawn after every third yellow portal, which is generally around 40 to 55 minutes yielding 1 purple portal, and during all of my WAPs done for the past 2 months, I was able to get 3 purple portals in a single session only every few times. So generally speaking, 2 or 3 WAPs is needed to use up all 5 purple portals in one day. Hey guys, Peanut here again. I hope this was helpful for you guys, and if you have any other questions, feel free to ask me down in the comments below and I'll try my best to answer them if I can. Also, did you know that I have a free Patreon? I post useful event infographics and guides on there for any and all events that are released in GMS. Everything that I post on my Patreon will always be free, but if you're feeling generous and wish to support me in my efforts, you can. Any and all support is greatly appreciated, as it all goes directly towards me growing my channels. So don't forget to leave a like if you found this video helpful, and maybe even subscribing for future event guides. And with that being said, thanks for watching and the continued support, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!